Gear 5 Luffy officially runs out of gas. The pacifistas are no more, if you can believe it. A new arrival changes everything, and more will be discussed in this insane chapter, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Chill the Pirate King within and smash that like button if you enjoy seeing One Piece reviews on the channel and want to keep them coming. Make this the video you join the Nakama if you haven't already by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss future reviews and updates. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. Last chapter left off looking pretty good for our side. Yes, Luffy pointed out that the elders are immortal, so they gotta go, but Dorian Broggy sent Warcurie flying back with an attack. Then Luffy sent an attack back at the elders and it exploded in their faces. Kizaru just wanted to rest, and the ancient giant was on his way saying Joy Boy sorry, implying that this huge power, pun intended, is on our side and about to help the new era Joy Boy aka Luffy, and in that way make up for any regrets of the past. This chapter is called Hard Aspect. We're also told that in astrology, aspect is an angle that planets make to each other in the horoscope. So I'm guessing the point is Luffy is in a hard spot surrounded by all of these planets aka elders. The chapter starts with a marine report saying all the remaining pacifistas in Egghead Island have been defeated, and Nuro, the swordsman and ideal Zoro matchup, is the one who did it. He had already destroyed like half, and I know it shows how strong he is, but I gotta say, I don't like it. I think Bonnie deserved to have some of those pacifistas left so that she could use them to up her attack and defense. That's what Vegapunk intended, and it's a shame that seemingly things didn't end up like that. It's like she got this piece of good news and a pretty hype combat increase, only for it to be taken away a few chapters later. Moving on, we get some Frankie love. Frankie defeats Vice Admiral Red King with strong right attack. Guess even 6 chins aren't enough to take on Frankie's strong right. And this is even more perfect because Red King had previously used his own strong right punch to significantly damage a sea beast. So this definitely makes Frankie look like a boss, and I love it. Bonnie, for her part, turns Vice Admiral Pomsky into a kid and kicks him, which is pretty hilarious. Despite being 12, she just embarrassed the Vice Admiral, and I love it too. Vice Admiral Guillotine is shocked by how cruel Bonnie is, but she's only 12, like I said, so it's not like an adult hitting a kid. In fact, it's quite the opposite. But this right here definitely shows why Bonnie has such a bad reputation, as has been brought up before, because she seems like an adult just beating up kids and old people when she uses her powers. Ironically though, she's the victim of unimaginable cruelty, not the other way around. Another classic One Piece moment emphasizing the don't judge a book by its cover idea. Last chapter, Zoro pretty much beat Lucci, and then Jinbei stepped in to make sure Zoro didn't waste any more time. Unfortunately, we don't see them in this chapter, but I'm hoping Zoro does something else notable before they leave the island. As we'll get to later, there is a great opportunity for that presents itself. I wouldn't complain either way though, because it is cool that he beat Lucci, who embarrassed him in Water 7, even though Lucci is awakened and much stronger now too. It was a very cool moment for Zoro, and I'll appreciate Egghead for that too. In the lab, York leads Mars to the room with monitors where Vegapunk's message began to broadcast. Mars shoots a huge beam and destroys the room in an instant, and thankfully this isn't enough to stop the broadcast. Like I've been saying, genius Vegapunk, keyword genius, should have made it pretty impossible to stop if he was confident enough to have a coffee before getting down to business. And since he outsmarted self-proclaimed scientist Saturn with the Kuma and Pacifista stuff, I hope that continues. York is the one to fear though, in case she has Vegapunk's full knowledge. She explains that the real source of the broadcast is the newest version of Dendenmushi created by Vegapunk called Haishin Dendenmushi, aka Distribution Dendenmushi. She says it's hidden somewhere else. Mars plans to destroy the whole laboratory to eliminate the Dendenmushi quickly, but York actually stops him, saying that the weapon development floor and the power plant are also here. And if the lab is destroyed, the destruction will be so strong that it would destroy Punk Records too. Ironically, York the traitor is being pretty useful in seemingly buying Vegapunk's broadcast more time. In the meanwhile, Mars senses a small quote-unquote voice coming from Punk Records and assumes it must be the new Dendenmushi and flies up towards there. We'll come back to this, but I'll just say it's gonna be crazy, so look forward to that. We then cut to Stussy and Kaku, and he's already conscious. Kaku asks if the Straw Hats abandoned her right after she betrayed CP0 for them, but she corrects him, saying she chose to remain here to complete her last job, which is to shut down Frontier Dome while the Straw Hat crew escapes. And even though they're antagonists, I hope we see Lucci pull through for Kaku after asking Mars to save his friend. It's nice to see these wholesome bromances on both sides. We then cut to Nami's group, and Usopp has prepared Coup de Burst in the Sunny, but it's pointed out that without Vega Force 1, the Sunny can't fly far enough to get to the sea. Edison says to trust him, and then he flies away to go through the barrier. Edison says external damage simulation at 78%. I won't die yet. Here I go. End quote. And I just gotta say, props to Vegapunk, his clones, and allies, because our mad scientist really went above and beyond to help the Straw Hats here. In the end, he made a very moral, respectable choice for a long thought to be a moral scientist. If only Dragon would do the same and get his butt here ASAP. We then cut back to the main event, meaning to our boy Luffy, and what I've been warning about for a while now takes place. Elder Peter, the Dune Worm himself, sucks air into his mouth with such force that Luffy and even the giants, Dory and Broggy, can't move forward and they are pulled back. We then get some comedy with the way Luffy's face is illustrated again, but our boy Luffy comes up with an idea. He says, and I quote, "If you're so hungry, how about you eat this building?" End quote. Luffy literally kicks an entire building to separate it from the ground, and then he throws it into Peter's mouth. After that, it finally happens, what I've been talking about. Luffy runs out of energy and changes to the old man Luffy. Luckily, Broggy has some Elbaf sensu beans in the form of Elbaf's special emergency food called Hakarl, based on a national dish of Iceland consisting of fermented shark meat. That's some cool Viking sounding stuff right there. Interestingly enough, Luffy, the food lover, doesn't find it delicious at all, but it works and he immediately turns back to his normal form, but importantly, not Gear 5. Now, it's not made clear whether he could go Gear 5 again if he needs to after sensu bean recovery, but if he can't, then that would also make sense because it adds more urgency to the escape at this point. If there's no Gear 5, the escape has to happen sooner because without it, Luffy can't really stall the elders. And as if to confirm this, Oda has Luffy try to use Gomu Gomu no Red Rock on Warcury's head, and even though that is obviously a powerful attack, it just ends up hurting Luffy since Warcury's head is so tough. This detail not only goes to show how strong Gear 5 is, but also how tough the elders are. After all, Red Rock is the attack that knocked down Kaido to Big Mom's shock back during episode 1015. We cut to the Labo phase for now, and Saturn is climbing up to the cloud. We can see his legs reaching where Nami's group is, so that'll be something to watch out for as well. Then we cut to the northeast where Bonnie is. One of the giants is cut down suddenly and Nusjuro appears, standing in front of Elbaf's ship. Man, how many people and pacifistas is this dude gonna cut down? It's crazy. Nusjuro, we're told, is portrayed in a very scary way in this panel. Bonnie asks, "Who are you?" If this skeleton horse beast is here, you can bet Bonnie needs help ASAP. We can't expect Frankie to help out in this situation. Now, Sanji would obviously do his best to help if he arrives first, but I think Zoro would be perfect. In that case, we would have our swordsman come face to face with the Gorosei swordsman. Zoro, even if he couldn't beat Nusjuro yet, definitely has the best chance of holding him back until they can escape. That's at least what I'd like to see, and then their meetup in the future would be all the cooler since they could have a kind of throwback to their meeting here at Egghead. We then cut to Punk Records again, and Mars turns back to his human form and walks inside while Vegapunk's message is still being emitted. There is 1 minute left, we're told. Time is running out quick. Mars finds the special Denden Mushi on the floor of a dark room, which, not gonna lie, seems all too convenient. But never fear, it does look like it's a trap. Mars says, "So this is it. You are out of luck, Vegapunk." But then suddenly, Mars hears something strange, and the Japanese sound effect that is used for bubbles or liquids is heard. Mars looks up and observes something with a serious face. ... Place your bets in the comments. What or who could this be? Is it a surprise left from Vegapunk, or could it be another hype character making an appearance and helping out with the Straw Hats? Oda, if you're listening, I won't complain if you make it Dragon. I've been saying this arc is perfect for Dragon to make an appearance, with not only Luffy being here, but for his friend Kuma and Bonnie too. Last time Dragon saved Luffy, he brought a storm with him, and so his storm powers could explain the liquid sounds. I'll admit it may not be the most likely outcome, but a man can hope. And if you enjoyed the Gorosei powers in this chapter, then you won't want to miss my recent video on Imu's Devil Fruit powers and yokai form explained, link on screen right now. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.